Welcome back to Closing Time with Nick El-Tawil. I am Nick El-Tawil, and we are in a new location today. This is the first Closing Time being recorded at Empire Studios. Shout out Ed Wu. You built a beautiful studio, buddy. And I'm here with my guest today, Jarrett Nez, a.k.a. Nez from the Res.
Yes.
This is going to be the most Arizona podcast I've done yet. Jarrett is Native American, born on the reservation, hence Nez from the Res.
Also my handle for Instagram.
Also his Instagram handle. So Jarrett, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I worked a little today and ready to do this. So
Now, you told me you were going to come dressed in Native American colors. Is that what I'm seeing right here?
no. I said I was going to wear some turquoise. I wore a little bit
Turquoise?
of a bracelet here, yeah.
Okay.
So.
And what does that represent?
Turquoise is like a special stone in the Navajo culture. So that's what that's where I'm from. I'm originally from Tuba City, Arizona, which is between Page and Flagstaff on the Navajo Nation. So that's where I was born and raised. But to answer your question, turquoise is a special stone in our culture that we use in our jewelry, we use in our colors, schemes, all kinds of things. So it's just one of those colors that we are attracted to, or that we use in our ceremonies, in our culture, all those things. So
That's awesome. So growing up in Arizona, we had reservations all around. If you look at Scottsdale is the most obvious example of it because the 101 freeway just splits down to two. And if you ever look at an aerial shot, you see the whole city, it's built up, and then the other side of the 101 has a reservation, and it's just dirt, basically.
yeah, so Arizona has 22 federally recognized tribes, and then of course Phoenix, like you said, is border by reservations. We have the Salt River, Pima, Maricopa Indian community. We have the Gila River Indian community. We have the Auction community, and then there's all the others as well. So, but they also within those reservations we have the casinos and all those things. So yeah, but yeah, Phoenix is definitely bordered by it. But there's 22 federally recognized tribes in Arizona. Mine just happens to be in northern Arizona.
The Navajo.
The Navajo.
See, the Navajo is one of the ones we learned about when I was in elementary school. They taught us about all the tribes, and Navajo was the one that stuck out to me the most. But you're saying they're not near Phoenix. They're northern Arizona.
So our reservation is in the Four Corners area, so like Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona. And then within the Navajo Nation, there is a little hole, which is the Hopi Reservation. So, but yes, you probably learned about Navajo culture, history, because we are the biggest tribe in North America. So we're about 400,000 members for our tribe. So
Woo!
Yeah, so we're also the largest that have the most speakers of Navajo as well. So
Navajo is still a language that you guys speak.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Do you know any Navajo?
I know Navajo. Yeah.
Can you say something in Navajo to me?
Sure. So one common phrase that we use, so when we greet each other, it's a way to establish like a kinship with people and then let people know where you're from. So usually you say, She'e Jarrett Nez Yinisha, which means my name is Jarrett. And
Can you say it one more time?
Jarrett Nez Yinisha.
Unisha.
Which means this is my name. And then we belong to a kinship of people, so you belong to a clan. And since we're a matriarchal society, you get your clan from your mom, and then you get your clan from your dad, and then your third clan is your maternal grandfather, and your fourth clan is your paternal grandfather. And so the usual greeting would be Yate She'e Jarrett Nez Yinisha Kia Ani Nishlin Do Twitch Eatni Bashichin Cutne Zani Dashiche Dot Izatlana Dashinala Equit A the Nishlin. So you say that and you say, I'm from this clan. And to translate that into English, what I'm basically saying is, I'm Jarrett Nez. I'm from the Towering House clan. I'm born for the Bitterwater clan. My grandpas are Tangle clan, and then my grandpa on my dad's side is the Mini Goats clan. And then people who understand that, they're like, oh, okay, you belong to this clan. You are related to me in this way. So it's a form of kinship. So that's kind of how we establish that relationship with people. So if someone's the same clan as me, they're family automatically. So they're either my cousin if they're the same, or my brother or sister if they're the same age around me. If they're the same age as my mom, they would consider them my mom, because I get my clan from my mom, so they would be my mom. So I would greet them as my mother. So
Can you say your first clan again?
in Navajo,
Yeah, the first one he said.
it's Kia'ani. So it's a Kia'ani Nishle, which is I am Kia'ani. So I am Towering House.
That's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Towering house. Bro, I feel like I'm on Game of Thrones right now. Like
And then we're given Native American names. And so my Native American name that was given to me was Kia'ani Nez, which means towering house, or tall towering house, if you will. So, yeah. And then Nez just means tall or long in our language. And our...
Hey, that's what my last name means.
Really?
Tawil means tall or long in Arabic. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Dude, cheers.
Yeah.
Mike, cheers. We just found out we're brothers from another mother.
So that's how we establish our kinship, and then we get our names usually from your clan or something that you're known for. So, and technically, your name is given to you from either your grandparent, from either one of your grandparents, or something that you're known for, or something that you've kind of, done. So, yeah. So that's kind of how that all plays out.
So those are all Navajo clans then?
They are Navajo clans. There's about 40 Navajo clans within the tribe, and you're not allowed to marry your own clan. So,
I mean, if you call them family like that, then that makes sense.
Considered incest, if you will, because you're related to them. So if you're ever going to be courting or you want to marry someone, you have to make sure you're not marrying your own clan. So
you're like, I'm Towering House. I have to find, short house.
Something like that.
Short Adobe home.
Yeah. So if you, you would have to find someone, but you can marry your grandparents' clan technically. So, it's only the first two clans that you can't marry because it's your mom or dad's, but you can technically marry your grandparents' clans if you wanted to. So,
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. So we learned about the Navajo and then the Hohokam, of course, because they built all the canals that turned into Phoenix. Those are the two that stuck out to me the most.
Yeah. So the Hohokam, they say, are the ancestors of the Gila River people right now, the Gila River Indian community. Also the Salt River community. They're kind of sister tribes, if that makes sense.
And it's their reservation is a hyphenated thing, Salt River / Gila.
Yeah. So it's like Salt River, Pima Maricopa community,
Maricopa,
and then there's
Gila
River Indian community, and then there's Auction community, and there's the Tohono O'odham community. Those four tribes are technically considered sister tribes because they're very similar in their language, their customs, their culture. Same thing with Navajos. Navajos and Apaches, we come from the same language group. So if I heard Apache, and I've heard Apache, and I can understand it, but it's just a different dialect, if you will. So my theory is we're all together at one time, and it just kind of broke off and created their own community.
If you go back far enough, we're probably all related.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I totally agree with that, though. But yeah, so and then we also have different types of Apache as well. We have Mescalero, we have San Carlos, we have White Mountain. We have Chiricahua. We have I can't remember the name. I think it's Jicamillo or something like that. But yeah, there's 6 Apache tribes, I believe. So
now the Salt River / Pima Reservation, it's actually called Indian Reservation. That's the official name of it. Yeah. Now I was reading that coming from New York. Everybody's super politically correct, and I came back to Arizona, and it was kind of shocked me. It's we still have Indian Bend Road. We still have the actual name of the Indian reservation is Indian Reservation. Right. Is that offensive to you guys at all, or how do you feel about that?
No, but here's the one thing that people need to know is the legal term, especially when they're coming up with treaties and making laws of Indian law, the legal term is Indian. Right. However, but since then we've taken on different terms like Native American, Indigenous, for example, my tribe, we call ourselves the Navajo Nation. So, Gila River Indian Community, that's what they call themselves. So,
And that was the name they gave them in like the 1800s. So this goes way back.
yeah, it goes way back. Yeah. And so, but one thing to remember too is with Native American tribes, we're considered a sovereign nation, which means we are our own nation. We can make our own laws. We can make our own customs, culture, all those things. So, and the state can't enforce their laws on us if they will.
Right.
So we're considered our own sovereign nation. So we can name ourselves whatever we want, whatever laws we want to create to make sure that we, as a people, continue our culture, our language, or whatever it may be, without any outside influence.
So if you didn't want to be called the Indian Reservation, they could change the name.
They could,
easily.
yeah. It depends on what laws. I mean, I think in the Navajo Nation, they would, someone would submit like a resolution for a name change, and it would go to a vote for the council, and then to the president of the Navajo Nation. So, and then he would sign off of it, and their name would be changed. So,
now, how do you guys feel about, say, outsiders coming onto your property and your land? So I remember when I was in high school, I was in high school, like Southeast Gilbert. So I forget the name of the reservation, but it was right by the Santan Mountains.
it's the Gila River.
That was Gila River still. So, yeah, it was like you cross the street across from my parents' house, and it was Gila River Reservation. And being the dumb kids we were, we would, sometimes take trips out there just to be like, ooh, we went on the reservation. We weren't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
But how do you guys feel about that?
Me personally, I am fine with outsiders coming to the reservation. We have a lot to see, especially my reservation. We have Monument Valley. We have Canyon de Chelly. We have, we're close to the Grand Canyon. My only thing is that people respect it, if that makes sense. So there's one thing, I don't know if you've heard of Chocolate Falls in northern Arizona. It's this huge waterfall, but it's all kind of muddy water. So they closed it off to outsiders because people were littering. They were leaving like food, trash, all kinds of things. And like people don't want to see that when they go visit that.
No.
You know what I mean? And it makes sense if you're going to go visit someone's country or...
Because it literally is a second country.
Like have some respect and don't litter and those type of things. So, but recently it's been cut off from outsiders because of that. So it's unfortunate, but those are the measures that we have to take as a people to make sure that those things aren't destroyed for us. If that makes sense.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But me personally, I don't have any problem with people coming on the reservation. I love when people ask me about my culture. They ask me about food. Indian fry bread is a huge thing here in Arizona.
I haven't had Indian fry bread.
You got to try it.
Okay.
There's different ways of eating it too. So people have it as like a taco with like meat, beans, lettuce, cheese, tomato, salsa.
I haven't had lunch yet. You're making me hungry.
And then people...
I don't know if I should go down this rabbit hole. I might starve.
And then people have it as like a dessert as well. They put... powdered sugar, cinnamon, honey, whatever.
See, that's the
on
vision that I had in my
That's
head. Was
what
like a
most people
Yeah.
Think of when they think of Indian fry bread.
You know what? I think I might have had that when I was a kid. And
Yeah.
actually had
They sell
the
at
dessert
state
with
fairs
honey.
now, too.
Yeah, with honey, and then I've had that.
Yeah, so that's what most people think of when they think of Indian fry bread. But for us, it's like a dinner roll or something like that. We eat it with our stews, our meats. It was more of a savory thing instead of a sweet, dessert for us. So that's kind of how I grew up with it. And then I came off the reservation and people were like, "Oh, you should make us Indian fry bread." I'm like, "Okay." And everyone's like, "Where's the powdered sugar and honey?" And I'm like, "Oh, is that how we eat it?" So, it's just a different style.
They had to sell it to little kids.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
They put some powdered
especially
sugar
at the
and honey
state
on it.
fair.
Yeah.
So
It was good though.
yeah, it's
really
a
good.
delicious treat for sure.
What else you guys got in Navajo food?
Navajo food. So we are very into mutton or sheep or lamb, kind of what we call it. So
You guys are very similar to the Arabs, like myself, because we love our lamb too.
yeah, we love our lamb. We'll grill it. We'll make it in stews, all type of things, and we use every part of the sheep. Like we eat every part. So
Even the wool,
well, the wool we use for our rugs, but like the food, like the mutton.
everything else, just not the wool.
Yeah, well, we eat everything else. We eat the sheep head. We make blood sausage, which is like a delicacy in my opinion. But yeah, we mutton's a big thing back home, and people. It's so funny because sometimes I'll be out and people are like, "You eat sheep? That's so weird." I'm like, "You're eating a lamb sandwich right now
Yeah,
with
like
like
lamb
cherry
chops
glaze."
are
Yeah,
objectively
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and I'm like.
So,
And I'm like, and they're like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I'm like, yeah, you guys just call it lamb. We just say sheep. So, but yeah, I mean, that's one of our traditional foods. Corn, anything corn is, we have something called nil-down bread, which I call like Indian corn bread. It's just grounded up corn that's cooked in made into a masa, baked underground like a Dutch oven, and served with food. And we have all kinds of things. We have the Hopi. Next to us, they make something called semivikis, which is like a blue corn tamale. They have piki, which is a mush that's put on a flat stone and rolled up into like a burrito, but it's a really thin paper pastry, if you will. But yeah, there's some of those things. So especially growing up next to the Hopi Reservation, a lot of things crossed, if that makes sense. So I ate their food, they ate our food, those type of things. And one thing I recently found about our food is, so we make tortillas as well, but our tortillas are a little bit thicker than Mexican tortillas. But if you go throughout the entire world, every people has like their version of a tortilla. So there's like a pita, that is kind of like a tortilla, but it's like a flat bread, circular, that's made, and people eat it.
I'm gonna debate you on that because we eat pita in the Middle Eastern people, but we put it with hummus. We don't roll anything into it. It's I wouldn't call it a tortilla because tortilla you kind of wrap stuff into it, right?
You do, but like we don't always wrap it with stuff too either. Like we'll dip it in our stew or whatever.
Okay,
but like we kind of like we use it
just bread with sauce.
It's like a bread with sauce or bread with stew or those type of things. But yeah, I mean, we do the same thing with fried bread, so, but I just feel like every almost culture has like some form of that type of circular flat bread.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So
any Indian pizza? Since we're talking about circular flatbread here.
I've seen on TikTok some people take a fry bread and they put pizza sauce on there and toppings and cheese, and I'm like, I don't know how that would taste. That wouldn't taste good to me personally, but
it's on TikTok.
People get creative these days, so
it's on TikTok. So
yeah,
good.
yeah, for sure.
So, grew up on the reservation. You went to high school there, and then you came to. Did you go to U of A or did you go to ASU?
So I went to ASU, but before that I went to what's called Eastern Arizona College in Thatcher, Arizona, and then a small town east of here. It's probably like 3 hours east of here past Globe. So I went there. I got my associates, and then I transferred to ASU and I got my bachelor's there.
Cool.
So, yeah. And then I got my degree in social work. I was hoping to take that and go back home and use that and do some social work with it, but ended up staying here in Phoenix. And then I finished school during the recession of 2007, and so the state
wasn't a recession yet.
Well, it was getting there, but the
state,
state,
on the way down.
The state had cut all the social work jobs.
Yeah,
and there was nothing for me, and then everyone was like, just get a job somewhere, and then when we're out of the recession, you can go back into social work. I got a job in HR pushing paperwork, and been in HR ever since. So just worked my way up there. So but yeah, so that's my education history going there. But and then along the way, I've also gotten certifications and stuff like that as well. So yeah.
Are you ever going to go back to the Navajo Nation?
I hope to someday to like maybe retire. It's beautiful country. If you've ever been up there, I encourage everyone to at least drive through there. We have all kinds of things. We have dinosaur tracks. There's Wapaki Park, or what is it? Wapaki.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know how to say it either, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
And there's a Grand Canyon. There's Horseshoe Bend. There's Antelope Canyon. There's the Monument Valley. There's the Painted Desert. There's the Petrified Forest. There's so many, Canyon de Chelly, which there's so many things to see up there, and people don't know that, especially when you're living in the city. But if you guys ever get a chance, go up there. I promise you, it's going to be some of the most beautiful things you'll ever see. So, and the sunrises and the sunsets are way better than you see here in town. I guarantee it.
And they love the ones we have here. So that's saying something.
I know.
That is saying something.
Especially if you're in the Painted Desert and you see the sunrise or the sunset. But yeah, it's my home and I love it. And hopefully someday I can move back and then retire there and, get old.
I love it. Since you mentioned the Grand Canyon, isn't there a tribe at the bottom of the Grand Canyon?
There is a tribe there.
Was that Navajo?
No, so that tribe is called the Wallapai tribe.
Mm-hmm.
So they a little bit smaller, but they definitely reside in the bottom of the Grand Canyon. If you ever seen that huge waterfall where people go, they hike down into that canyon, and they hike down there, and that's where that tribe resides. All those things. So they run they probably rely on tourism.
Yeah,
and
so I've heard.
All those things. They probably do the burro renting, all those things. So yeah, but yeah, there's a tribe at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, more north. But yes, there's a tribe there.
And have you ever been to the bottom of the Grand Canyon?
I have not been to the bottom of the Grand Canyon,
Neither
but
have I.
I've been to the Grand Canyon.
I've been to the Grand Canyon
many
a few
a
times.
times.
Yeah.
As a kid, we used to sell our jewelry down there and just, post up and sit there with a blanket and sell our jewelry there. And I was a little kid doing that for my grandparents. So
Yeah. How much money you make?
I mean, back then, this is in the late 80s and 90s. So back then it was, $60, but that was a lot of money back then.
Yeah, $60 is per piece.
Yeah, well, no, as a whole,
as a
we're
whole.
selling different things. Yeah, so, and then we'd buy groceries with that, and then we'd be set for a while, but then make more stuff and sell and just keep going at it. So,
I love that. You were hustling.
you were definitely young entrepreneurs for my grandparents. So, for sure, they managed it. We just were the laborers for them. So.
The Jewelry Store.
Yeah.
By Jarrett Nez.
By Jarrett Nez's
Jewelry.
grandma, Jarrett's grandma. So I was just the laborer there. So
Look, I'm a branding expert here. We're branding this. Jarrett's Jewelry.
no, Nez from the Rez Jewelry.
Instead of Jared.
Yeah.
They go to Jared's. They
Probably
get the
open up
wedding
a store like that here in Old Town since there's so many
Jarrett's.
Native American gallerias here selling jewelry. I could probably do that.
ring. Yeah, but you can make it a little more bougie. You can be
I
like
know.
Native American, but sexy. So I don't know if I've seen one of those yet. There's a lot of old Southwestern style Native American places, but there's not a modern Native American place.
There kind of is actually here in Old Town. There's a place called
one?
the Fry Bread Lounge. I
haven't been there.
I can't remember what street it's on. I believe it's on First Street or First.
It's right around the corner.
Yeah, it's literally right around the corner. They serve bison. They serve fry bread. They serve mutton, Indian tacos. They serve Navajo tea. They serve a lot of indigenous foods. So, and it's right there. I'm sorry. I feel bad that I don't remember the exact street it's on, but it's definitely really close here. I think it's on First Street. It's across from that Nashville chicken place.
Never been there either.
Okay.
So I have a few places I need to try after this.
Yeah. But you should definitely try that. It's really good too. And you don't feel guilty because it's indigenous food and it's pretty healthy, in my opinion. So, because bison's one of the most leanest meats you can eat too.
Yeah. And they're not giving you sugar on your fry bread.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they have a dessert there, which is
Do
fry
they?
bread. They do, yeah. I think
Okay.
that's a fry bread flight, I believe. It's pieces of fry bread with, I think one has honey, one has chocolate, one has cinnamon and something else. I can't remember what it is.
This was the wrong podcast to do before lunch. This was not a good idea.
No.
But now I got some ideas.
Yeah, there you have some places, some recommendations that you have to try for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Jarrett, you got anything else for us today?
I don't know. I just think if you guys ever have a chance, go explore Arizona. Honestly, there's so many places to see. There's Montezuma's Castle. There's Wapaki. There's Monument Valley. And visit our casinos too. So
Only
yeah.
17% of Arizona is privately owned land. 83% of the entire state is public or reservations, like where Jarrett's from. So definitely check it out. Make sure you get permission. My name's Nick El-Tawil. Thanks for watching, guys.